Hey guys, and welcome to Will Squared Podcast. I'm Will Senior, and this is
Will Jr.
and this is a little podcast that we're gonna get started with. And all we're gonna do is just talk sports, and who knows, maybe something else, whatever comes up. Um, but mainly just sports. And this is our first episode, so bear with us as we work through some of the kinks that we're definitely gonna have
Yeah,
in our
throughout the whole thing.
first episode, and maybe through another
And
few
our journey.
episodes and journey.
The whole journey.
And then on top of that, Will Jr. is actually going to be doing a daily podcast on TikTok.
Yes, on TikTok. Just a brief description. I'll just be going through the four major sports: football, baseball, basketball, and soccer. I do about like a rundown, 30-second each. So like 2 minute video on there, just explaining the daily news, if you will.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be interesting to keep everyone up to date with how we feel on the sports. Just to kind of give you a quick overview of how we're going to be interacting. Will here is very big on stats, very analytic about the sport. I'm more of a emotional type of fan. I can put some stats down. I can be pretty logical about some of the games, but mainly I'm going to be the emotional fan. And so maybe some of you guys can relate to me. Some of you guys will relate to Will. But that's why we're here. And so again, this is just our opinions. You guys are more than welcome to comment on our opinions, call us jackasses, call us dumb. Who cares? We're here to have some fun.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, moving on to football. As you can see, I have a Miami Dolphin jersey on. Yes, I know. I am a Miami Dolphin fan, and I've been suffering for a lot of years. But you know what? I still love my team. Been a fan since 1983, as far back as I can remember watching the first football game on TV. Back in those days, there was only like 3 channels, and I just happened to catch Miami playing that day against the Raiders. I believe it was the Raiders, and since then I've been a Miami fan. This past week, again, under the lights, we just cannot win under the lights.
This was week 4, by the way.
Yes, sorry, week 4. We just played against the Tennessee Titans, which I was hoping we can get a W, but you know what? It wasn't meant to be. And then on top of that, we just got news today that Phillips is actually out for the season again. Really great talent, but I guess he's injury prone.
Unfortunately, yeah.
This week we get to play the New England Patriots. We don't have Belichick there anymore, so not sure what we're going to call them anymore, but I'm hoping that change of scenery will give us a W, because we are actually away this weekend as opposed to home, and where we've been in the past practically 2 weeks at least.
No, he played the Seahawks this past week. It was in Seattle. But before that, it was 2 straight home games.
Yeah.
Wow, 3 out of your first 4 games were home?
Yeah, and they were all
I didn't realize
winnable.
that, yeah.
They would have been all winnable, with the exception of Buffalo, I guess.
Yeah.
But we could have been 3-1, sitting pretty. But instead, we're 1-3. Barely won that first game.
Yeah.
Barely won that first game. I saw a stat today. This is going down your alley. Miami Dolphins are the 6th team, I believe, if I remember the stat correctly, that haven't led at any point in the game, because when they won the first game, it was a field goal as time expired.
Yeah.
And all those teams that started with 0 time of lead in the first 4 weeks, the most they won was 2 games the rest of the season.
Dang. Do you
Right
remember
now,
what team that was, or no?
I know the Chiefs from back in 2016, I believe. I'll have to find that stat and I'll show you. But
It'll be on the screen now.
okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
You done?
Yep.
And then on to me. I am a Ravens fan since about 2010. We live in the Maryland area, so my first game that I saw was the Ravens, the nice purple jerseys, the hard hitting like defense, Ray Lewis, the great leader. So that's how I started. This past week we faced the Bills. It was a near complete game. I gotta be honest. Which, as a fan, I did not expect because I expected a tougher fourth quarter that could have made the score close. But thankfully, that did not happen. The Ravens closed them out and really closed out Josh Allen. Seems like we're finally getting the real Derrick Henry, which I'm very excited for because there's still a lot of ball left to be played. But yeah, great win. This next weekend, we do have a great game coming up. It is the Bengals, and Bengals need to win this. They're at home, and they're 1-3. Like the Steelers are 3-1, Ravens are 2-2. So you gotta win those hard division games. Yeah, I'm excited for it. That's about it. So next, we're going to be picking our best team, in our opinion, through 4 weeks, and then also our worst team. I'll let Senior go first.
Well, before we get to that pick, I want to talk about Derrick Henry for just a minute.
Go ahead.
How the hell does that big man, who's 6'2", over 250 pounds, is able to run over 20 miles an hour? And I saw another stat.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
another stat that since 2017, there's only been 2 players that have reached over 20 miles an hour in more than 7 runs or touchdowns or whatever. And Tyreek Hill is up there with, I think he's got over 60 times. And Derrick Henry was the only other player up in that area. And I'm like, how the hell does this man run that fast?
Just like God-given talent, hard work through the years of obviously weight training, leg workouts. I mean, he's 6'3", 250, and a man should not be running that fast at you. Like, imagine a 6'3", 250 man in pads
running at you.
You don't want to tackle that.
No.
Especially in the fourth quarter.
No.
After the first 3 quarters, it's been like 20 carries.
Yeah.
You're tired. You're gassed.
Well, and we were lucky because we're both Bama fans.
Yeah.
So we were able to watch him play in Bama and catch him playing. I mean, all those great running backs coming out of Bama. He definitely stood out, mostly because of his stature. I mean, the man was a man playing against among boys. Anyway, getting back to our pick. So I think the best team right now would probably be Kansas City.
Okay.
And then the worst, probably Miami. No, I'm just playing. Let's not go there yet. I think we're not the worst. If we lose to New England, then I can probably say we're the worst team. If we lose to New England. But I would say is the Jags at this point.
My best team right now, it has to be the Vikings. It has to be the Vikings. Just based on what I'm saying is the best team because they've been flawless throughout 4 weeks.
Okay.
Sam Darnold has re-elevated his career. Even though from the start I said no one's going to succeed in New York with that 3rd pick in 2018. It was just, unfortunately, it was him. Now he has talent. He has a great coach. He has a decent offensive line. He has the best receiver in the whole game. A great number 2. Hawkinson is coming back soon, so they could get better. And the defense, led by your old coach, is putting
Let's not
them
even
up.
go there.
No, but he's not a great head coach. Let's be honest. He's a great defensive coach. A head coach, he was not that good. Worst team, Jags, just like self-explanatory. They're the only team that's still 0-4, and they play like they're 0-4.
But not by far.
Not by far, but they are. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they play like a 0-4 team. I do like Peterson and Lawrence, and I do hope that they get back to playing good football. But for right now, that's my worst team.
All right. All right, moving on. Guess what time it is in pro soccer, or
football.
How we say in South America, because we're Argentine too. Football.
Football.
So guess what time it is in football?
October, the best time, if you will.
UCL.
Champions League.
The Champions League, gentlemen and ladies and gents. And yesterday and today, great games. Although yesterday I feel we talked a little bit about this. I felt that you can see the big discrepancy between the top tier teams and the low tier teams. We had a lot of 5-0, 4-0, 3-1. I was kind of surprised that the media was saying that Arsenal pulled an upset over PSG.
Same with me.
I don't believe that PSG is better than Arsenal, and I'm not an Arsenal fan. We are both City fans in the PL, and then Barcelona fans.
That's
in,
my main
in La
team.
Liga.
Barca is my main team. There you go. So.
Yeah, and City is mine. But anyway, it's great matchups. What do you see in the UCL? Let's just talk about Champions League, and then maybe next week when they're back to league play, we can talk about league because there's a lot of things to talk about there.
First, I'll respond to your point about the score lines. That's only going on because goal difference counts now. Back then, yeah, like teams could destroy teams on the field, but the scoreline will be like 2-0 because after the first 2 goals, they'll just pass around, that kind of stuff. But now goals matter, so teams are pushing through. Like Barca scored 5 yesterday, they were still pushing till the last minute because of the goal difference, because they lost the first game. Like City were still pushing even after being up 4-0 because goal matter difference, and they're trying to get that first place.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure how the top 8 like gets decided for the round of 16. Like, is it does first place like face the 16th worst?
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
I'll figure that out soon.
Yeah, with this UCL, the new format this year is a little confusing. I know that the top 8 automatically go, and then the next
9 through 24 face
they kind of
two-legged playoff.
I guess they play each other 2-legged, which I think it's anyway.
It's just
and so then
games.
they get pulled up, and then they're part of the final 16.
Yeah.
The round of 16. So, but interesting games. I know when it just started. What's your prediction for the final? If you had a final to pick, who would be your 2 teams, and who would be your champ?
Madrid would definitely be in the final. Just self-explanatory. UCL and Madrid. And as of right now, I have to say Barca too. No bias.
Yeah, right.
Hear me out.
Go ahead.
They had a great start. They're all hurt too, so when they come back, we'll finally see their full potential. But I'm saying Barca just because Rodri for City. Bayern, I do not trust Kim and Upamecano in tough games. They're great defenders, but they're prone to making mistakes that cost goals, and we've seen it in the past. Last year, the year before that.
Yeah.
Arsenal, I feel, are still like a year away. Get some experience. They lost to Bayern this past year in the quarters with 2 like great games, but it might be like another year. And that's saying this now. Like, it's only early October. There's still many, many things that could happen. Major injuries, major like drama, major like stuff on the pitch, that kind of stuff. But for right now, that's mine. What is yours?
Yeah, so losing Rodri was a tough pill to swallow because we can't perform at the same level without him. I'm hoping that we can find or that Gondwan and Kovacic can fill that role or at least do a double pivot. But with Pep, he always tries to tinkle around, and I think he wants to put Rico as like the inverted back, which I don't like because I like Rico, but I don't like him. He has a tendency of always passing backwards and not pushing the ball forward as much. That's something that I've seen, but obviously Pep is getting paid the bucks to make those kind of decisions. So, all to say that I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say City, and I actually see Barca reaching the final this year too. I mean, like to your point, they're playing with all these young kids right now. All the veterans, if you will, are getting healthy. And they're going to make the push. Obviously, the UCL doesn't finish next week, right? It's a long season, and so you get all these veterans in during the league play, get them accustomed to playing at that game speed. By the time we reach, quarterfinals, semis, final, they're ready to go. On another note, though. What do you think about all these games being played? I mean, there's some players that are talking about, and I know that we we're just going to talk about champions, but I think we can just touch this really quickly.
30 seconds.
What do you think? I mean, all these players are starting to complain, and I think rightfully so, right?
Of
That
course,
they're complaining that they're playing a lot of games. You don't see any other sport other than maybe basketball that plays so many games and is so taxing on the players, right? Because basketball is very taxing
on the body
itself, right?
And the mind.
And the mind. Baseball, well, it's okay a little bit.
So and so. It's the most games, but it's not that much taxing on your body.
I don't think it is. But what do I know? So what do you think?
As a fan, of course, I love it. More games is my favorite sport, so I love to watch. I love to play as much as I can, watch as many games. But I've been a player before. We're both coaches, so we know how demanding it actually is. And playing 60 games in a span of like 9 months, each 3 to 4 days, is really tough. It's really tough.
And that doesn't really include any
the potential games.
The potential games or
summer stuff.
Or games for your country.
Country too.
FIFA dates.
Qualifiers. There's more teams involved in the World Cup now, so there's more qualifiers.
Yeah.
The Nations League, which for me is the most useless national team competition in the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, players are only off for like a month now.
Yeah.
To vacation, to enjoy their lives and family.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I would be pretty upset also. I mean, the NBA has 82 games. You can potentially play up to close to 100 if you make it through the playoffs, make it to the finals, and you're playing 7-game series. Yeah, you can reach 100. But they still have 2 to 3 months off. All right, before between the end, between the last game of the season, if you don't make it to the to knockout, to when they start revamping again, you get good time. Baseball, same thing, right? You don't start spring season till about 3 months after the World Series, maybe 2 to 3 months after the World Series. So there's a lot in football, same thing, right? And I think it was because we're really structured here. With European, it's just like they just keep adding and adding because guess what talks?
Money talks.
Money talks and bullshit walks.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on because this is a good subject, but we don't have a lot of time and we only said 30 seconds. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think I realized it that much that every major soccer team ends around the same time. That was a good point because in basketball, you could be done in April and not make the playoffs, and you're off until August or September. Yeah. Whereas in soccer, they all end around the same time.
Yep. Yeah, because Champions League is only 2 weeks after the last league play.
It's just league and then the cups and then Champions League.
And then Champions League,
and then
exactly.
All within 2 weeks, the whole of Europe. So, it's crazy.
MPL plays through Christmas, too.
And they do, And New Year's.
And New Year's.
Kind of. On New Year's Day.
Yeah. All right, let's move on because we definitely could cover a lot of conversation there. We can probably cover that in another episode. Let's talk really quick about baseball. Yeah, you got the Yankees. So I'm a Yankee fan too. I was born and raised in New York, so that comes in my blood. What do you think? Are you happy with the seating?
This is my favorite time of year, I'm not going to lie. October is my favorite month because all the sports just align in one. It's the most beautiful time. And for baseball, it's the playoffs. It's such amazing atmosphere and play. The seedings, I do believe that the best 12 teams made it with maybe the Diamondbacks, but the Padres and Mets were too hot. They had to go in. Maybe for the Braves, because the Braves have been hurt the whole year. But no, I'm pretty happy with it. Yanks have the 1 seed. This is the first time I've seen them get the 1 seed. I started watching baseball in like 2014. Actually watched baseball was probably 2017. So yeah, I'm excited. I got a lot of optimism.
Yeah, he wasn't lucky enough to be living through the Yankee dynasties.
I have not seen a ring. I have not seen anything.
I watched the 78 Yankee dynasty, which only lasted 2 World Series.
Back to back.
And then obviously
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter era with Tino Martinez and
Mo,
Posada and Mo and all
Pettit.
those. But anyway, so he hasn't lived through a dynasty, which I'm hoping that the Yankees start one relatively soon again.
This era, I need Soto and Judge to finish their careers with like 4 or 5.
And we have decent pitching. I think what we really need to worry is bullpen.
A little bit bullpen.
Yeah, a little bit more. I mean, I think other than that, we are pretty settled. But, so right off the bat, top. I mean, we got playoffs just started.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for the World Series and your winner?
All right, so first, I'm going to say my conference championship and then my World Series prediction, but I will be explaining why on the podcast.
Okay.
On TikTok. In the NL, I do have the Padres and Mets. And I do have the Padres winning that series. So Padres are in my World Series representing the National League. The American League, I do have the Yankees and the Tigers. And I do have the Yankees advancing to the World Series. Non-biased. This is the first year since I've started watching baseball that I do have the Yankees in the World Series. What is yours?
So I was thinking long and hard, and I didn't want to say the same teams you had. So I'll go with the Dodgers and the Mets in the NL.
Ooh, okay.
And I think Dodgers pick it up, but I don't think they'll get enough to pass the Mets. So I have the Mets in the World Series. And I have to go with the Yankees, right? Yankees over the Tigers. I kind of agree with you there, but you know what? I'll change it up. I'll go Yankees against Guardians.
Okay.
Yankees take it. As long as the Stros don't make it, I don't really care. I just don't like the Stros, and I haven't liked them in many, many years, especially since they caught him cheating. So I'm looking for Subway Series number 2 in the World Series. I would want the Yankees to win in 6. That would be my prediction.
Say mine. I'll say it.
You can expand on your knowledge on the podcast. So guys, keep an eye out for that. He'll be sending that out probably tomorrow. All right, moving on. Let's talk really quickly about basketball. Yeah. And before we talk about basketball, I do want to apologize to all you hockey fans. We're not big hockey fans until it gets to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We've tried. I've tried. Back, I'm still a New York Ranger fan, but I just don't follow them until it gets to the playoffs. So we do apologize. Yeah. Who knows? We may talk about it sometime, but it's not going to be one of our 4 sports
that we talk about.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about really quickly about basketball. New year starting. Tell me what you feel.
Exciting times. It's a new season. He is a Laker fan since what year?
Since 83, 84.
83, 84. But yeah, new season for the Lakers. LeBron is still kicking somehow.
Yeah.
Although this time he literally created his own teammate. So.
Yeah, literally. From his loins. Yeah, but you know what? I don't like what the Lakers did this year or this offseason.
Oh, me either.
You know what they did?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. They didn't do anything to get better.
Yeah. They'll be lucky to make round 2 again.
Yeah, and I don't understand it. It could be something internal. Mm-hmm. So, or maybe just players that just don't want to play with LeBron, or who knows? Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
But for some reason, we can't attract big names to the Lakers like we used to. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Early prediction: NBA finals? Champions.
In the final, I'll go Celtics and Thunder.
Okay.
And I think Celtics go back to back.
No.
I do think Celtics.
No, we can't have Celtics win again. No.
But
I say the 76ers knock him out.
Okay.
Anybody but the Celtics.
We'll go back and
we'll revisit this.
We'll revisit this.
Because
Philly's insane.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for today's podcast. We appreciate you hanging out with us and listening to our opinions, as ridiculous as some of them are, especially mine. We appreciate you guys coming on board. Subscribe. Send us some comments. Let us know what you thought of what we talked about. It's okay to disagree. Just no names. Just disagree. All right. Anything you want to say?
No, I'm good, bro.
Okay. So just remember, keep an eye out for Will's solo podcast. He's going to go more in depth, especially with the baseball and maybe some football there too.
There'll be a link to it down below.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching.
All right. Later.